Hello, hello. Hey, folks, we got our next presentation starting. We have Michael Crean, flew in all the way from Virginia, Maryland, D.C. area. And he's here to talk about philosophy, community, what else? Security, maybe a little bit about openness. So, Michael,
I'm very open.
well, let's start about why are you open as a entrepreneur? How'd you start your business? Tell us a little bit about yourself. That's the easiest question in the world for anybody to answer. Try and keep it to less than an hour, though.
I'll try to keep it less than like 2 minutes.
Okay, perfect.
So it's an interesting story. It's this idea of continuing to walk through the door and not being afraid of what might be on the other side. I think it's a really valuable lesson that I picked up from my career in the military. So after 9 years in the military and several deployments, I got out, decided I was going to be a government contractor because what else was I supposed to do? Found myself on unemployment, decided that I needed something to do. I've got family, I've got kids, I've got to find something to do, and started a small consulting practice just trying to help out a friend, and turned into another client and another client. And one night I pick up the phone and I call my mom and I was like, Mom, I think I'm running a business and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I was completely lost, had no idea what I'd gotten myself into, but figured that I had to keep walking through the door and just keep saying yes. And so here we are 21 years later, and it has been an absolute change or be changed moment. You know, we have gone from being a VAR to being a government contractor with a facility clearance to being an MSP to realizing that I have the wrong bedside manner to be an MSP. Because if you call me one more time and tell me you can't print because that little blinky light's telling you you need toner or printer or something, and that somehow is my emergency, I'm probably going to punch you in the eye. I'm not good for this.
Oh my gosh.
We made a change in 2010 to become a firewall management and monitoring company, and just continued to progress and saw that MSPs really needed a security advocate, somebody that could do for them. And what I say is, every heart surgeon is a doctor, but not every doctor is a heart surgeon. And so not every MSP is meant to be an MSSP. I think there's a specialty out there and you have to be committed and you can't dabble. And so we are an MSSP because we don't dabble. So don't call me because you can't print because I don't give a damn.
Well, that's a great story. So I think your mom is proud, though. This is the short answer to that, right?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I think a lot of people who started in the MSP or MSSP business came out of the military, came out of a consulting environment, and realized that there was actually an opportunity here, Michael. So why is that? Is it a talent gap problem? Is it that we all hear that cybersecurity is not a way easily gotten and secured, or is it that you just found that there is a layer in the industry that just needed a business, or is it a little bit of both of those things?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it was just a calling for me. You know, I was so used to kicking indoors and chasing bad guys, and the physical security aspect of it was easy for me. It's what I knew from a very early stage as a man getting a little bit older. And so as it transitioned for me, chasing bad guys was just another way of doing it. And it felt like we were really making a difference.
Yeah.
When you're defending people that can't defend themselves, it's fulfilling.
Yeah, it is.
So, you know, I say it just happened. I don't think I was built for this. My father will tell you different. My father said he knew from a very early age I was going to be an entrepreneur.
Oh, wow. I love that.
He says it, so it has to be true. I didn't believe it.
Well, you've proven it because you're in a great company that's well known across the country and in parts of the world, and we're proud to have you here today.
We don't talk about those countries that don't like.
Well, exactly. Well, we won't talk about the countries that don't like any of us. So, but I'm really happy you're here and you flew in for this event. So thank you, Michael. So let's talk about one of your passions, which is this idea of a community. Now, again, that can sound fluffy, but I know you have a thesis that if people work together with security tools and observations, we could outsmart the hackers. Can you share a little bit about why you think that's a good path?
Sure. So I believe there's this idea around responsibility. What we're seeing happening right now is that too many people are focused on just the technology aspect of it. And then you're finding everybody that's pointing the finger. And if we think about this from our childhood, it's like, what did your mom and dad tell you when you were pointing your finger at somebody? How many fingers are pointing back at you? So there's this sense of shared responsibility that as the end customer, you have to take the advice and guidance of whatever your MSP is telling you, within reason, obviously. But if they're telling you to use MFA, you should use MFA. If they're telling you they need a maintenance window to do patch management, take the maintenance window and do what they're asking you to do because it's for your benefit. In the same instance, the MSPs that are trying to support all of these customers, they should adhere to their responsibilities and do the right things. You know, if they want the manufacturers, if they want the code writers, if they want the MSSPs to have all of these accreditations, if they want them to have all of these certifications, if they want them to fall within these frameworks and do all of this compliance, then they should too. Onboard yourselves in the way that you want your customers to be onboarded, and this becomes this shared collaboration of responsibility. One thing that I learned on many deployments in the military is if you lose a team member, the whole team member lose. The whole team is lost. It's not just about the individual that doesn't return home. If we start acting like a team, if we start sharing the responsibility, if we start taking this collaboration and assuming that that is a personal responsibility, then we succeed. And if it becomes less finger pointing and we realize, okay, maybe this was just an honest mistake and you clicked on something, it's an opportunity for training. Don't browbeat them. Don't tell them that they're bad. Don't tell them that they've done this horrible thing that's caused a problem. Explore opportunities for success. Don't let it go away. Don't ignore it. But everybody shares in this responsibility together and we hold each other accountable. That's how we beat the bad guys. Because we're certainly not going to do it with just technology.
Yeah, and I think it's really hard to get past the single stack provider who wants to be the market leader, and APIs give a foundation for this. But tell me more about the people side. We all know APIs allow vendors to work together. Absolutely. But even then, you can have two support teams say, it's your fault, no, it's your fault. So give me an example of how you've worked through that. It doesn't have to be about anybody even in the room, Michael, but what are some best practices you've learned to help eke that kind of behavior out from people? Do you have a story you can share?
I think first and foremost, it's about finding the right vendors that aren't trying to just sell you something, but they really want to be a part of your family. And that's what I'm looking for. It's almost like when we go through an interview process and we're hiring a new employee, we're not just looking about the knowledge they have in their head and what they say that can answer the question immediately. There's like 5 points for that. But then there's another 5 points of who you are as a person and what that person brings to the team. And so I think it's the same thing. When you're looking for vendors and you're looking for technology, what can they bring to the table that's more than just that stack? And when you start to bring that, then you find that they're vested in your business. They want to see you grow, they want to see you succeed, and they want to see you do it in ways that's not just meaningful to their bottom line revenue, but where it's good for you. And those vendors that are really vested, and sometimes when you're losing, they're picking you up and they're bringing you forward and helping you, but also the accountability. You know, that's one of the things that I like is I like somebody to push back on me. I've got some really strong leaders in my company, and I will tell you one of them in particular does not like a passive woman. He wants a really strong, assertive woman that calls his shit. At the end of the day, it's what he wants, it's what he needs. And it's what we need in our business. I need somebody who is strong and assertive that will help us. And I think that's where the industry gets much better and how we then succeed as a whole.
Yeah, I think it's a great vision, and I think there's a lot of people thinking this way because we all know we can't keep up against the hackers can download free code. They can almost get a playbook off the web now. So that
it's not almost.
Yeah,
I mean, it's ransomware as a service.
It's crazy. Yes, it's hackers as a service throughout the world. So it's really gotten easy to do that. So how much, we're here at the Open XDR Summit, so I want to kind of fold that in. How much of an open story is important to this vision, do you think? And give me a why. Give me a why that's important if you think it is.
So I think that the openness is, especially when it comes to Open XDR, you know, everybody's talking about everything that ends in an R right now.
Yeah,
it's
no kidding.
EDR, it's MDR, it's XDR, it's NDR, and I tell people all the time, I feel like we're a bunch of pirates running around with our R's. But this openness that we're talking about, this sense of collaboration, we've got to start, you know, it's not about hugs and puppies and rainbows and kittens. This is about truly working through collaboration with one another and trying to find those points of integration where you can really start bringing in all of these data sets from everywhere, you know, and every business is a little bit different. You know, I was talking to an MSSP just a few minutes ago, and they were talking about how they will bring in everything. They don't care if it's Fortinet or Palo Alto or Checkpoint or SentinelOne or Cylance or every other one of the EDR tools out there. That is a fantastic business model, and I will say they're actually more open than we are. And I think they're probably doing a much better business than we are because they're willing to meet people where they are and they're willing to help them out. That's something for us to think about as an organization because we don't do that quite as much. I'm really particular and I'm kind of ornery if you haven't picked up on it by now. I want you to do what I want you to do the way I want you to do it because then I think I might be more successful if you do it my way. There's a little bit of a control problem there.
Yeah, but to some extent, it's a process thing, and you've defined who you know you can serve too, because you want to meet an SL, and you want to meet expectations, Michael, too. So I think you're
And
hard on yourself.
I want to be the subject matter expert.
Yeah, you want to be for value,
Yeah.
right?
What I really want is one of the lessons that I learned in the military is being a subject matter expert. Yes, could I pick up just about any weapon that was out there and do my job as necessary? Yes. But if it was the thing that I was comfortable with, that I had done 8,472 times, when I wasn't at my best, when I was at my worst moment and I was tired and I was dehydrated and I didn't have everything going for me the way I wanted, I could still do my job effectively. So when we were building our openness, if you will, it was about picking the tools that my team felt most comfortable with. So at Corey's worst moment, when maybe he's had a little too much to drink, but the SOC is calling him in the middle of the night because something is going really wrong, his muscle memory and his recall of things is so accurate that even though he's had a few too many of his favorite bourbons, he's still going to get it right.
And I see him smiling over here, so it's all good.
I'm gonna pick on you a
Hey,
little.
we're embarrassing people in the audience here. This is a great session. So, all right. So, and let's talk about people one more layer because I think we had some career discussions this morning, and I think everything about cyber is there's a talent gap, and everybody's rushing to find new ways to either train people or bring out the best in people. Michael, give us a couple of nuggets. What are some great career advice or training closing that talent gap? What are things that you can throw to the room here that everybody can take home and go, dag, that was pretty cool. I got to think about that.
So I'll tell you a quick little story. There was a gentleman that we hired about a year and a half ago, had never worked in the IT space a day in his life. He had picked up a couple certifications. He worked high-end retail, but he really wanted to break into the cybersecurity space. I knew his parents because they were military, and so could you just mentor him along? We started talking. I found something very unique in the way he presented himself, and we decided to give him an opportunity. In a very short period of time, he showed that he has some innate ability to become one of the most incredible threat hunters that I had seen with a very short amount of time. So why I tell this story is it's not necessarily about checking the traditional box. You know, I can remember there was a point in time when I was first coming into the civilian space that it was, do you have a college degree? Do you have your master's degree? And those were checkbox that you almost had to have to just gain entrance to the door to be accepted to speak. I don't think that works anymore. You look at some of what's happened in the military and how they're training some of their operators today. They're not training them the way that they were, and they're not accepting them for the things that they used to accept them. They're now looking for the intangibles. Do they love their country and how much? And can we see that through just their speak and maybe through their social media? These are things that drive people. So as you're looking at this talent and you're trying to find people out there today, maybe look for somebody who has an amazing ability to carry on a conversation, because conversation skills in this next generation kind of suck. They're really good in text messaging. They're fantastic with short, quick, but when you've got to get them face to face with somebody, it's a tough conversation. So when you're in the security field, you're not necessarily dealing with people at their best. You're finding them at moments and times when they're struggling, when they're being attacked, when maybe their livelihood is at risk. You want somebody that has a good bedside manner, somebody who is compassionate, somebody that may not have had 10 years of being an experienced threat hunter or a SOC analyst or have all of this foundational experience, but somebody that maybe has something else that you can train into them. The other thing is you don't have to train anything bad out of them. I'm not saying hire them for your VP of threat operations, but you can bring them in as a junior analyst. You can give them a shot, you can try them out at something, and I think if we open our minds to where the job pool may come from, I mean, look, how many of us have been in an Uber ride and we've had the most amazing conversation with one of those Uber drivers?
Oh,
I know that I have.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
How cool of an opportunity would it be if maybe you put yourself out there for a moment and say, hey, is this something you're looking to do for the rest of your life? Have you ever thought about cybersecurity? I mean, because if you're picking up that Uber somewhere around your house or your office and you don't want to drunk and drive that night, I mean, maybe this is an opportunity to give somebody else that chance for exploration and growth in a way that they may not get. So it's our opportunity to pay it forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Somebody gave me an opportunity one day, and that's why I do it today.
I love that. And that actually happened to me a week ago. I was driving with a guy, we were chatting. He's actually in the master's program down the valley. He wants to be a cybersecurity expert. How about that? So I think that's a really great point. I think I'm seeing that too. The way we were 20 years ago was a very fixed path. Today, creativity, out of the box thinking is actually an opportunity for everybody. So Michael, one last comment, anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with the audience today?
Stop being distracted by technology. It's not the technology that wins the fight. It is the people and the process. If technology is all we rely on, I promise you we're going to continue to lose. If you stop chasing the unicorn and looking for the shiny penny, we'll start to see more success. Just like in every relation that we're in, there are good days and bad days, and there are days. And those days are not good and bad, they are just what they are. If you're struggling with your technology today, be kind, be considerate, be compassionate, but voice your concerns. Ask the people that you're partnered with to make it better. Ask what you can do to make it better, and don't just assume it's somebody else's responsibility. Show your intent to collaborate and be a part of the success. And I think as a community, we're all going to do much better if we'll do a little bit more of that instead of just pushing it off to someone else.
Well said. Here we are at the Open XDR Summit, trying to communicate all boats were wise if we actually work together. Michael Crean, let's give it up for Michael Crean. Great presentation. Thank you so much, Michael.